I want to ask you a question. Who's coaching you? Who's asking you the tough questions? Who's telling you, man, you're the common denominator to all of your issues and challenges? Who's telling you, man, all day long you become the magnetic pulse that attracts to you both good and bad? I want to be your life coach. I want to be the one that cheers you on to the finish line. I want to be the one that you ask the tough questions. And it doesn't mean that I have all the answers, but that means that you have a partner, someone who believes in you, not the you see right now, but the you can't imagine, the you that you are to become, the you are destined to be. I always say we both need the positive and the negative. It's not enough to have the knowledge of the matter, but we must have the wisdom as well. For wisdom settles it. And that's what I want to offer you as you join me on the Coach's Corner. I want to offer you the wisdom of the matter. Maybe it might be relationships, talking about our campaigns for more, for life, the dark room of our subconscious, our spiritual journey. Whatever it is, I want to be there to encourage you, to build you, to challenge you, to cheer you on to the finish line. I'm qualified to do this. Why? Because I'm you. Well, welcome to another edition of the Coach's Corner. My name is Marcus Lett, a.k.a. The Coach, and assuredly as I approach the microphone, I have my set of issues, both personal and professional. But I think that I bring also to the table the wisdoms that I have learned, the lessons that I have mastered in some cases, and in other cases I'm like you, still yet trying to get a grip on it, okay? But I want to earn the right to speak into your life. I want to make the difference in what you do, and I hope that I can do that. And I always start the show off by just saying thank you so much for those that are listening across the various platforms where we broadcast worldwide. And I'm especially thankful for those that are tuning in on our newest platforms, Blog Talk Radio, Stitcher Radio. I want to say via Twitter at Select USA TV. Via Facebook, facebook.com/SelectUSATV, and via the website, www.415-96radio. Today we want to talk about what we lost were really gains to win wisdoms. This is the Coach. We are proud to have you on board today, and we want to, if we could, shake your virtual hand and say congratulations, you are yet still in the running to be the greatest that you can be. You are still in the running to be the next remarkable, unbelievable, impactful, and influential father or mother or brother or sister, neighbor. You know, it's nothing like a good neighbor. And I'm not talking about State Farm being there. Today's topic, what we lost were gains. Let's talk about losses. I'm starting to wonder now that if there is anything lost, though there may be waste. In loss, we seem to minimize intention, the intention of a being, a force, or God bigger than us. Lost is almost inappropriately used sometimes. Songwriter said one time, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost. Preferenced in the testimonial of the song is I once was lost. I like that. I taking personal responsibility. Once this was an instance that I caught and then thus did something about what I caught. I once was lost, but now I'm found. That makes a lot of sense. I once was lost. But now, you get that? I taking personal responsibility. Once this was an occasional, I caught this in passing. But now that I am aware and I am consciously involved in the going and comings of my life, I once was lost. Not the thing to try to sing it when you don't have the background music, but I can throw it down. No, I can throw it down. It was one of my majors in vocal studies in music. I believe that we do waste a lot of things, and waste means to simply throw away the opportunity, throw away the moment of plausible victory. So we do a lot of wasting. I am absolutely abhorred at how even I waste. But what we thought we lost, we really were gaining to win. You see, knowledge as one principle, biblical principle, spits it forth. Knowledge puffs us, and wisdom soothes. When you think you know something, you tend to be arrogant. After the orientation of getting the knowledge and the revelation of what you could possibly do with it, we begin to herald around balls of pride. Folks looking at you like, okay, did I miss something? But knowing how to do something is one level. Knowing when, what, where, and how, and for what purpose is more significant. And that's what you get when you have losses. You see, in the plain, perceptional, everyday life, I can't see what God intended for me. More often than not, I see what I have to do and how I can do or must do better, but I don't see the overall plan. And with all that I know, I become a danger to myself if I am not involved in some type of warfare or struggle or point of battle. And in the battle, I'm thinking that I have lost because I am not looking like my everyday self. I'm not looking like someone would be impressed with me. Or I'm not looking like I have it together. We're big on how we look to our friends and family. We are big on that in the Western culture. Right after you start gaining wisdom in life, you really don't care. You just want to be a great example, but you're not trying to live your life to match the perception of pictures that you think that your neighbors have of you. They probably don't even care. So that car that now was repossessed, that home that threatens to slip into foreclosure, that relationship that didn't work out, that marriage that died on the operating tables of divorce. These seem like losses, even to the degree that there's over 40% of our westernized American homes regarding the African American community, at least, where the male species does not inhabit or cohabit for protection and provision of his family. And this seems in and of itself, for all of us who study these statistics and look at these horrific criminal and psychosocial behavioral issues that bleed all over our cultural map. This would alarm us and should alarm us, but I want you to know that there is a greater wisdom being revealed regarding our errors in life. I'm reminded of a biblical reference now, if I can borrow for just one moment, that where grace is, where sin is, grace, and our sin is simply just the compulsion to mess up, the compulsion to make a mistake, that seed by which every human somewhere or another will transgress, whether against principle or, So where transgression is, favor is even more. Favor, not the favor that you hear people say, oh, I'm highly favored, not that. Favor, marked. You are marked. It's like when slavery was going on and the slaves would be lined up. There are certain things that certain owners did to favor their slaves over others. Some were given a healthy diet. Others were given oil and upper body strength task to ensure that they had the muscular display in the public market of selling human beings. I felt that right there. And so, this fly-by-night understanding of favor, grace says no loss is a loss. Grace says all losses are gains to win. Even when you think it's too late, even for those who, because at the end of the day, the legacy that you leave is part of the equation. And the loins of your legacy has a secondary, third and fourth and fifth and sixth and seventh and 17th and a 21st chance to right the wrongs of your generation. What is this thing called the human life and the human experience? And the Western culture has completely lost sight In this one instance, I once was lost, but now that is the Western culture, lost in this one instance, to understand that the human experience and that which we call life and the living therein is far more than we have given it credit. Far more. And it takes tragedies and catastrophes and calamities and accidents and incidents for us to wake up to the fact that living is more than pleasure. Living is more than self-fulfillment. Living is more than me, mine, and I, or us, I want more. Living. As you know, now we have the internet, and the internet makes us more closer now to the world, but we don't even know what to do with that. We don't even know what to do with that. We use the technological advances for folly, foolishness. A gesture or a chat or a search for pleasurable pics and erroneous conversations that don't have any weight on the legacy or the destiny of our lives. It just amazes us that in the instance that we become awakened in the consciousness of what this life really means, and have I really lost or am I really gaining, we have to catch this instance. I once was lost, but now what we lost were gains for several reasons. One, because of grace. Two, because of mercy. Three, because this life means more than they told us it meant. I had this little thing that I do now, that when I have a feel-good moment, I really want to stop what I'm doing right there and just go grab my journal, maybe my phone or something, and begin to write, what am I sensing and feeling in that moment? So that when moments are not so good, I can go back and read the moments that were good and find out what were the criterias of the mood, or what were the shape of the circumstance or something, so that I could glean wisdoms and understandings in the moments that you don't feel so hot. Because sometimes the moments come, it has nothing to do with too much external, but the thought conclusions, as I talk about in the show, and the thought leaderships, and knowing now that I got to learn how to fly as an eagle. And when you do fly as an eagle, the heights of your flight become so exciting that sometimes I think it's just worth noting that we might want to log in those moments so that we can of ourselves learn and glean from those moments. DJ, where you at? I thought I lost so much, and lost beyond the instance of catching what needs to be changed, and realizing that the change imposed must come from a power greater than myself, but I myself must be a cooperative laborer with the change and use resources beyond my capacity. That's where your faith comes in at. if you count too many things as losses, what happens is you begin to grieve subconsciously. I mean, everything seems to be okay on the outside. And if someone was to ask you, you being a Christian, if that's the case for you, someone might say, well, how are you? And you might say, well, I'm blessed and highly favored. And we've come up with these cliches and protocol words that we can flower ourselves as we die. Knowing that very few, less than 1% of the Christian community in particular, will ever stop, go out of their way to do anything different to ensure that brother or sister is understanding and realizing and embracing and wrapping their minds around the fact that every loss is truly a gain. And as there was a man that said this on the television that changed my life forever. And though he was hated by the body, he was hated by the world. His name was Jim Baker. And I remember watching him back in the day when I thought I was going to die. And he looked into the television and he said these words: everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be all right. And he said this: and you are going to make it. I had never heard someone speak in such authority, in such jubilee, in such essence, in such body. It was like having a great Starbucks cup of coffee moment. And then I would watch this guy, Jim Baker. I had never heard of such a person. PTL Club. I know the story that people tell for themselves as being something that, was greed and all kinds of destructive behaviors going on over there. But I know as for me, at a time when I thought my life was a waste, and I thought I was truly lost forever in my psychosocial environment. I could tell you some things that will blow your mind about that period of time in my life when I heard Jim Baker say, everything is going to be all right, and you are going to make it. And that's why I owe it to you every single day that I can muster up the strength to approach the microphone and tell you of my imperfections up front, and prayerfully, hopefully, be allowed to earn the right to speak into your life, to tell you the same words that I heard. This was not tied into per se religion, but it was not tied in per se a particular philosophy in my mind. This was just the cheering of the human experience. Someone cheering on the masses that you can do it. Someone cheering on the masses that you can make it. You can make it. Every loss is a gain. Every loss is a gain. But if you don't see it like that, what will happen? You will have a grieving, subconscious sense of entitlement. False sense of entitlement will come over you because you have not correctly perceptually analyzed life in the lens of someone greater than you. This movie of life that you're living and I'm living requires, as it were, 3D glasses. Looking at the life we're living through any other lens will not be appreciative at best, because the antics of our lives cannot be appreciated with a naked eye. You must put on your 3D life glasses. And you must take this statement by faith for those of you that are struggling right now, but for those of you that know, but you must take this statement by faith that your losses are gains. Your losses are gains to win the wisdoms of life. And every season comes to an end to introduce a new growth cycle, a new transition, new opportunities, new horizons. A chance is given to all with blood, as the Baptist Church taught me, running warm in your veins. And that your bed was not your cooling board, and that your sheets, I felt that right there, if you don't see your losses as gains, your subconscious repertoire will be that of a loser. That's why the songwriter, even of himself, back in the late 1800s, says, I once was lost, but now I taken responsibility for the place of the instance of lostness. Once, because this is an isolated issue that is rectified when I caught it. I once was lost. Now, that's not even talking about losing this or that. This is the entire being submerged in the pressures of the human transgressional psychology. David, and if I can just borrow from David, he said, in sin and transgression did my mother conceive me. I came out lying and cheating, is what he's saying. I was born with hostility and hatred, divisiveness and contentiousness and pretentiousness, if you will. I was born into this. That's why the Christians call it born again. But I know many of you don't subscribe to that, so I don't always use that. But because I am born again, I use that as a reference for my soul. Because make no mistake about it, I had to be born again. As you move forward about the cabin of life, you will find one instance. It should only be one occasion where you can agree with the songwriter. I once was lost, but this show has been about what we claim we've lost. Wives and husbands, brothers to battles of war, jobs. Whatever you do, remember, it's not a loss. It's really a win in disguise. Until next time, remember, the words from my mentor in psychosocial analysis of life in general, Jim Baker. You can make it. Follow me on Twitter, Spreaker, Blog Talk Radio, and any place where you see us, IBN Television and Radio. Take care of yourself.